Nothing has changed about this trap. An old door, worn by elements, guards the depot. The wind has blown. This is the trap Morel just set. The reeds, but it's good the cryptozoologists left. This isn't a very cozy place to stay. The later it gets, the colder. Remnants of the camp can... This trap is also full of panicked locusts. No...
Another empty trap. Always up for a good jog.
This trap's... The reeds rustle. When this... Nothing but...
Empty as all of them. One more of these and we're done. No, I'm fine. I didn't mean to complain.
Nothing has changed. Winter, slow to let go of Revachol, flecks some more wet snow from above. The snow falls lazily, making the beach sand paler still. And to think, it seemed you're warm in your hat and your coat. Like a well-equipped explorer, you comfortably survey the white land. More winding coastlines lined with abandoned buildings. Crumbling piers, salt water lapping at their dark piles. The waters turn black. Coal City in the shadow of San Martin, a boom town. Back when coal extracted from countless shafts near the city was needed to power Revachol. No more. The coal was supplanted by petroleum from the ocean floor and hydropower from the Esperance. Everything crumbled. These days, only the weakest remain in Coal City. Their hopes of getting rich linger in the defunct shafts under their feet. Below the old mines, L'Océan Municipal, Revachol's underground cemetery. Children under 14, they go underground looking for artifacts to sell to foreign museums and for fabled relics. Their parents, after rubies, melchiorite, lapis lazuli, plundered from Safle and Seol during the time of the Suzerain. 2 kilometers underground, in a winding shaft along whose walls mirrors, the mausoleum contains untold quantities of gold, and that special, purest of the pure. How can it be pure if it's magenta? Snow falls, and there is no answer. Some things are not for mortals to know. Few petits rats return from the shafts. Even fewer find what they're looking for. A small child all around her, white snow on the extinguished coke furnaces and on the weather-worn shacks where fathers beat their sons after drinking. The canal you crossed to get here and beyond it. Martinez proper, the district the police forgot to police. Someone is scraping snow off their windshield at the roundabout, in the midst of which a statue of Philip III serves as a destination for grade school field trips and, like all monuments, it's also a warning. 6-story ruins on the south side of the roundabout. A fenced-off yard. There's a truck belonging to a logistics company parked next. Clean white light coming from the windows of a clean Q-shaped office building hidden amid the abandoned church, its walls covered with hoarfrost now. One of Lissette's Seurs, a serpentine strip of land weaving its way into the Martinez Inlet. Unfortunates on the run from the law, from themselves, sometimes hide out the remains of a camp on a jagged piece of rock, a tent, old dishes and cutlery, long since abandoned. A hermit crab. Further out, the lights burn bright on Resurrection. Way beyond Martinez, a popular spa destination for ample-bodied Ozon kids with equally ample pockets. Then there's Ozon, but the snow falls too thick. The Bay of Revachol, vastness, great depth, over 1,200 meters at its deepest. Water, air brinier than hair. It is crisscrossed by huge cargo ships bearing company logos, wild pines, and at the farthest reaches of the Bay of Revachol, the shadow of the Coalition warship Archer, on perpetual patrol duty, ready to unleash artillery fire if you were to rock the raised motorway 881, with vehicles whooshing past one another day and night. while those who reside beneath the motorway was once a park, a place for reflection and recuperation for the patients of the old military hospital. In the 20s, it was used as a quarantine center during The pox is completely wild now. Evergreen thickets covered in snow and industrial dust. Feral dogs and even wolves roam. Heavy drug users do slip through and hole up in the old military hospital, hoping to find something. A line of motor garages with armored carapaces hunched in the cold. A mechanic is hard at work, patching up bullet holes in the side of a Capri 40. These are the garages of Precinct 40. Around you, the snow continues to fall. To the west, the ocean swells. The stairs descend to Central Jamrock. A man named Cooklove has a snow-covered stall there in the market across the bridge. He sells kebab infested with fly larvae to your colleagues who believe snow falls on the utility district, the library, the florist, the Sarah Mauritian restaurant that offers homemade wine. All of this built around a lake that formed in a meteorite strike. At the center of this lake, a chill comes over you, crawling down your back. The sand under your feet is wet. Somewhere in the south, near, snow falls into dark water. She prays, that's all. Layer upon layer of sand, poisoned with industrial runoff. The storm drainage. Someone stuffed a big old polar anorak into a concrete pipe under the boardwalk. It would keep you warm. You would probably never happen across it, but who knows?
We should keep moving. Who knows when the snow will let up.
Nothing has changed. The headless Falun rider. He could appear at any minute.
Please tell me we are not here to look for a headless man in a tracksuit riding a horse.
Don't listen to the lieutenant. He doesn't know anything.
No one's actually seen the headless Falun rider because he doesn't exist. He's an urban legend. A legend. There's nothing to wait for. We should get some rest. It's been a long day.
Yes, stay.
There, we waited. Nothing happened. Happy now?
Your ears hum from the silence inside your mind.
I know myths and legends are enticing, But in the end, they're just stories for children, to teach them lessons. So let's go. It's very late.
It takes you a moment. The reeds bend for the constant, distant song. Louder on this part of the coast. Nearer, the trap feels light and silent as you pick it up. No locust. No phasmid either. But still.
Well, the bait worked on something. This doesn't mean it was a reed monster, though.
The netting is a little untidy. Messier than the others. Like someone or something picked up the trap and shook it before dropping it back down on the ground.
Perhaps our cryptozoologists have competition in the form of an actual entomologist, or someone else is sabotaging them. I could present more theories, but then I would be taking this on as a case, which I'm not. Okay, but after that we get back to our own assignments.
A cold gust of air dries your sweaty face, and you look to the dark shadow of the fell.
The waves are beginning to die down. Look at those little bastards.
A mirror hangs on the bar. This is not the cleanest bathtub in the world. Ah, that soap scum smell. It smells like life. At least the bathtub. The water doesn't feel particularly clean. A few beer cans are bobbing up and down along your flanks like sad duckies. You pause to think before letting your head. Hold it right there. Keep your head above water, or you'll lose all those pheromones Morel sprayed on you. The lukewarm water is comforting. You feel nice and lonely, and so tired. Now you are alone with your thoughts in the tub. But it's easier than being alone with your thoughts. You see the corpse. You can still smell the cadaver on you. Then, houses along a narrow street. A video rental. Darkness on the... Your fingers grow pale and are covered with tiny whirls as the water cools. The waterline recedes as you stand. You are cold now. Your clothes.
The waves are beginning to die down. The waves are beginning to die down. The waves are beginning to die down. Look at those little bastards. Simmer down. The waves are beginning to die down.
Oh, yes, she does. You need to get your drink on. There is no...
The waves are beginning to die down.
Oh, yes, she does.
The waves are beginning to die down.
Oh, yes, she does.
The waves are beginning to die down.
You think she really needs more of that after a man died at sea? What if I told you it is actually possible to go on a date sober? Before recorded history, men and women were able to do simple, very primitive things together sober. Acknowledge the situation and keep it basic.
I have, and I don't really.
You just want to go for a walk. What kind of a monster doesn't want to go for a walk? Walks are innocent.
Just a walk? I don't know, officer. I would not have taken you for an innocent perambulator. Where would this walk take us, officer?
Nothing creepy, strange, or out there. Keep it eerie and simple.
All right, I will walk with you. But you need to understand that nothing is going to happen. We're just walking. Me too. It's been ages since I just had a normal
She means men.
stroll on the beach. Sounds nice. All right, I guess I'll be seeing you at Land's End.
She doesn't wait for an answer. You better get ready. The woman gazes steadily at the waves. A sudden gust.
Aye, so here you are. It's late and it's raining. Know that you're not the first guy to bring a girl to Land's End. This is what the locals call a make-out spot. That is not...
Across the rusty water, that's La Delta, the financial district. In the mist-covered distance, towers rise as a reed.
Drinking men aren't known for keeping their appointments. Aye, so an officer should be. All that running around must need a lot of structuring.
Her laughter is throaty and warm. It rhymes with the way,
Here it comes.
so fast as to make it seem like the weather turns at her command.
Me? No, no, no. Just grew up on the sea. Knew the weather'd clear up once we got here. Otherwise, it would have been a less pleasant
You should say something. Anything. Maybe the tequila sunset thing.
It's a common Revacholian expression. Means drinking yourself to death. And what about you? Keeping the name? Well then.
Not terribly impressed. The remains of the dying sun are reflected in the waves and the skyscrapers rising across the bay.
Isn't it strange for this all-powerful thing, the sun, to be so generous towards us?
The sun also falls on the Capeside tenements and war-torn ruins. An old sea fortress juts out. The sun does little for the dead, and those or people living in desert climates with sparse vegetation and little drinking water.
Oh, that was a bit of...
And a bit of conceptual unity too, it being yellow and all.
Now you're just nitpicking. But I concede. Maybe desert people some...
There's salt in the air, and the cries of the gulls and the skewer.
It's bringing us spring, summer. It's entirely on our side. No matter what we do or who we are. For absolutely no reason. It's unlike no other powerful being. Certainly no powerful organization or government. How can that be? I guess we wouldn't really be here if that thing wasn't on our team.
Here we go. 2 different approaches to cap this off with style.
That it does. But then, we are also enemies to our enemies, hey? The wind's gonna pick up soon, and I have to go, but have this. The sun's good, but it doesn't stick things. I've no use for it anymore. Doubt it. But thank you for the...
This is as far as it goes with her. You'd need to put a year between you and your last drink for anything more.
No. Men around here are too drunk to pose a threat. Farewell.
As she walks off, the wind picks up, and the light from the
I know that you're not.
Across the rusty water,
Drink. I so
her laugh
here it comes.
so fast.
Me knew the weather.
You should say something. Anything. Maybe the tequila sunset thing.
It's a common Revacholian expression. And what about you? Keeping the name? Can't wait to hear it.
The remains of
Isn't it strange?
the sun. All the sun that all people living in desert climates with,
Oh,
and a bit
now you're just nitpicking.
the salt.
It's bringing us spring, summer. It's entirely on our side. No matter what we do or who. I guess we wouldn't really be here if.
Here we go. Two.
Aye. And a benevolent one. When did you last have one of those on your side? Well, now you have that giant thing to watch over you. The wind's gonna pick up. Have this. Doubt it.
This is as far as it goes with her. You'd need to put a year between.
No. Farewell.
As she walks off, the man is decomposed. The body is reluctant to let go of.
Whoa.
Yeah, fuck it to pieces for us, liar cop.
It's not completely useless. You're able to reveal it feels like the leg is going to come off along with the boot. Just relax. This is... See? The corpse doesn't care if you try to take his boots. He doesn't need them. He's probably glad to get rid of them. It's heavier than you'd think. You're forced to drop it back down immediately. The corpse lands on the ground. Damn, you're out of shape. In your defense, the corpse was quite slippery. This is the right method. It takes some time, but eventually the boots come off, with nasty slices of polymer sock stuck.
Look, he's skinning the fucker up good. Poop.
Hell, keep at it.
The legs look like they've been clawed at by wild animals. As for the boots, you can't pop. Yes, these absolutely need to be washed. Didn't the Whirling have a kitchen? The man is the body.
What?
Yeah, fuck it to pieces.
It's not it fit. Just relax. See? This is the right method. It takes some time, but eventually.
Look, he's...
Hell.
The legs look like they. Yes, didn't the word.
Necromancer pig? That shit was dark. Going in there like that. Oh, Kuno dies. You gonna pick one out of his brain like that too? Kuno's gonna go out in a hail of bullets. Gonna look like...
Porta Rosa, a side alley of the Boogie Street spearhead. A young man in his early 20s approaches patrol officer Emile Mullins and asks for a cigarette. As off, the man shoots him point blank in his chest. Breathless, the patrol officer collapses in the gutter. His right hand is grabbing the armor on his chest. Bleed, pig. Someone opens a window and says, but Emile cannot see who. His sight grows dim with pain.
Yeah. The fuck about it? You're testing...
Get lost,
Yeah? Yeah, whatever. Kuno doesn't give a shit. The fuck do you... Good call, Kuno does...
Master Investigator, you just can't keep yourself away from locked and hidden places, can you? Attaboy, the world's secrets were made for you. They wait patiently. This industrial gas-powered stove has been used. Getting the corpse residue out of these boots is going to require patience. And also a commercial pot draws your attention. It's very large, gigantic, far away, in the darkness of a makeshift morgue behind Station 41's Lazarus. Dr. Nix Gottlieb cuts into the cold, dead feet. There is a variety of soaps and bleaches in the cabinet to the left of. It's bad with those boots. Don't be stingy now. The delicious smells of cheap soap and vinegar. All right now, chef. Light up the stove and boil them. The strong smell of vinegar forces you to step away. Strips of polymer fabric and human tissue separate from the lining of the boots. They float to the bubbling. A two-course dinner of rotten flesh and hardened ceramic. The boots look cleaner and cleaner. Those bits of human flesh are beginning to look just like beef stew. That's it, chef. The boots are as clean as they're going to get. Steam, dense with the smell of strange meat, disappears into the vent above the stove. A pair of real beauties. The boots are shiny. The edges of the pages are worn and smudged. A lot of people have read about the Devil Woman's altercations with the Hjelmdal man. The jacket copy proclaims, "Man from Hjelmdal returns in his most exciting adventure yet, after he is ambushed by a tribe of female warriors and taken to the ancient citadel of Cloud City, where a mysterious and wicked queen rules supreme. Will Man from Hjelmdal be?" You open the book to a random page. Man from Hjelmdal, wielding his two Zweihanders, is carving through a sea of his arms whirling like windmills, are soaked with the... It calls out to you. This is the spirit of Revachol. Berserker rage burns in his azure-hued eyes as he brings glory and honor to his long-lost Hjelmdaler tribe. From the village, Man from Hjelmdal rides on a gilded griffin, his golden mane billowing in the breeze. The steel muscles of Man from Hjelmdal gleam in the humid jungle air. Yet the man does not sweat. In meditation, his soul drifts. A passage reads, "The man from Hjelmdal looks up, his eyes blue as the mountain lakes of his homeland. He rarely speaks, but now his voice booms in the darkened throne room. Do not try to sap my masculine essence. Thine spells are no match for purity and strength of will. Brothers of Hjelmdal, stand above the vices of flesh, for it is weak and corruptible, yet mine is forged in gore and strife. I have grand plans for you, Man from Hjelmdal." She gestures her diabolical hand toward an array of potions and unguents. "First, you shall please me. Then lead my armies against the vicious cannibals. Not a muscle moves in the face of the man from... This is beyond primitive." What do you even know about literature? Have you ever read a book in your life? Write a thesis. Man from Hjelmdal is done with you. In your hand, you hold Dick Mullen and the Mistaken Identity. The brittle paperback feels fragile to the touch. The cover features a pastiche of different scenes. In the foreground, a man in a dark overcoat clutches a pistol to his... The tagline reads, "Detective Dick Mullen must prove his innocence after an old friend is murdered by someone who looks just like Dick Mullen." Needless to say, it violates nearly every RCM regulation for a detective to investigate a murder. The story opens with a knock at the door. Detective Dick Mullen is greeted by an old friend, Charlie Spillane, Spillane needs Mullen to drive him in from Vespa to a small town along the Insulindium coast. Despite his friend's apparent agitation, Mullen does as he's asked, then returns home. An extremely unprofessional and hurtful stereotype that's offensive to all upstanding officers of... 2 days later, Mullen is arrested by the Vespa police and charged with the murder of Charlie Spillane. At his interrogation, Mullen learns that Charlie Spillane was shot in a bar in the very town Mullen dropped him off in. Desperate to clear his name, Mullen manages to convince the Vespa police to release him for 3 days, so that Mullen... Of course, Mullen didn't do it. That's the whole premise of the book. Anyway, Mullen returns to the seaside bar where Spillane was murdered and meets a beautiful, mysterious woman named Deneuve reveals that she was Spillane's lover, and that he was mixed up with a local amphetamine smuggling operation. As soon as Mullen begins, not only is the local police captain in on the amphetamine ring, so is the son of a powerful politician and a strung-out art collector named Torvald, each of whom has his own reasons for wanting Spillane dead. Outwardly, the old police captain is a real law and order crypto-fascist, a barrel-chested man who's beaten his share of suspects to pulp. But he's also dirty, and he would certainly have the motive and the means. But the captain walks with a noticeable limp from an old war injury. Is it possible that he was a typical privileged twat? In all likelihood, he's just in over his head. He does bear a personal grudge against Spillane, though, a former prosecutor who nearly brought down his father's The kid doesn't exactly have Dick Mullen's manly build, but he is the correct height. And while interrogating him at his home, Mullen did notice a certain overcoat that Torvald, the art collector, is a strung-out mess. Frankly, it's hard to imagine him holding a pistol steady enough to actually... That said, Torvald and Spillane have a long history, and while interrogating him, Mullen discovers that Torvald was once involved with Deanna Deneuve. One evening, Deanna Deneuve comes to Mullen's hostel room in tears. The two of them drink half a bottle of vodka. Well, that testimony won't be admissible any longer. As the two lovers share a post-coital cigarette, Deanna Deneuve turns to Mullen. I love you. Whatever it is, Mullen never hears the words. A blow to the base of his skull knocks him out cold instantly. Who can you trust in this wicked, messed up world? Will you be there for him, though, when push comes to shove? Time will tell. In the meantime, let's get on with the story. When Mullen comes to, Deneuve is dead on the hostel bed next to him. To make matters worse, his clothes are covered with her blood. Mullen trashes his blood-stained clothes and flees the hostel, knowing it's only a matter of hours before the cops fleeing a crime scene, destroying evidence. Even if Detective Mullen didn't commit the murder, he should be facing. Dick Mullen won't be sent to the clink for the sake of some league. The heat is on. If Dick Mullen can't solve both murders before the cops catch up to him, he's going away. Can you solve the case before the cops close in? What is it, Detective? It's a dangerous line of work, but somebody has to do it. That's why Dick Mullen there was never a time when he wasn't a detective. For a moment, you cease to read the story on the page and see the book for what it is. You won't find the answers you're looking for here, in other words. Is it really so evil, Detective? Then, why are you still here? What are you trying to prove exactly? But then, what does this book know? It's just a poorly made piece of pulp garbage made to be consumed and so, who did it, Detective? Who killed Charlie Spillane and Deanna Deneuve? Have you been paying attention at all? It wasn't Mullen. It was You begin furiously flipping through pages. Even as you know these books follow a series of well-worn tropes, you find yourself completely engrossed. You try to grab the pages as they come loose, but your fingers aren't quick enough. They're gone. Dozens of pages scatter across the floor. The last fifth or so of the book seems to have been lost. It's possible that you could gather and reassemble the pages, but it would take weight. Yes, blame a dead horse for your In your hand, you hold 4/5 of Dick